Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the press conference of the Only Living Pickpocket in New York. Thank you, photographers. We'd like to begin, please.
Do we put them on?
No, because
we don't need it. Okay.
No, we don't need these? Okay, fine.
Cool. All right.
These are open?
You want me to open that for you?
before we begin with questions, I'd like to present our lovely guests from your left. He's an acclaimed American cinematographer known for his collaboration with Noah Baumbach, including Frances Ha and While We Were Young. He has also shot Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird and Kelly Reichardt's Wendy and Lucy. Please welcome Sam Levi. He's a British producer whose work spans both independent cinema and major studio productions. His credits include Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Knives Out, and Glass Onion. Please welcome Leopold Hughes. She's a producer whose work includes acclaimed features such as The Place Beyond the Pines, Mississippi Grind, and The Zookeeper's Wife. Please welcome Katie McNeil. He's an acclaimed actor, writer, and director whose remarkable career spans independent cinema, major studio productions, and the stage. He has collaborated with filmmakers such as the Coen brothers and Spike Lee, and his performances in films like Barton Fink, The Big Lebowski, and Do the Right Thing have made him one of the most distinctive and beloved actors of our generation. It's a pleasure to welcome John Turturro. He began his career working as a camera assistant before moving in front of the lens, appearing in many television productions. His long-standing collaboration with filmmaker Ryan Johnson began with Brick, and he has continued across all of Johnson's films since, including Looper and Knives Out. In 2022, he made his directorial debut with Blood Relatives, and we are delighted to present the international premiere of his second feature, The Only Living Pickpocket in New York. Please welcome Noah Segan.
Hello to everybody. My name is Mark Karapetian, founder and publisher of culture magazine Spirit, A Smile in the Storm. Congrats to your film. It's also a beautiful tribute to New York, I think. But my question is, the film shows that it's not easy to be a pickpocket thief in the modern world. So crime doesn't pay in this digital world, or what? Maybe to John Turturro and, of course, to Noah Segan.
You can start, Noah.
Well, yes, I think, people these days, they don't carry cash. They don't carry as many jewels and watches and things of physical value as much, which I think, is, I guess a metaphor, but it's also quite literal in that we just we've become a digital currency kind of culture. And I think if we sort of expand that a little bit, we can look at how that's affected so many other, maybe more legitimate jobs and ways of life. And I think that's part of what the film is talking about.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what drew me to it. I'm not a, completely analog person, but I do, miss some of that, especially the interactions that happen among people when we're all not looking at our phones. So I think there's only one constant in life, and that's change, radical change, and you have to sort of adapt to that. And this is a story about a person who is struggling to adapt, to that, and at the same time has certain values that seem to be going away. So.
Hello. Very pleasant.
He was first. After.
Yeah, no problem.
Please.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Questions here from Brazil. Rodrigo Fonseca, Correio da Manhã. 2 questions. Noah, to you. This mixture of after hours and uncut gems although very particular, that you brought us, I think has a co-protagonist beyond Harry, that is New York City. How to shoot New York City in the indie style nowadays? Mr. Turturro, a quick question to you. It was impossible to me to watch the movie without remembering Fioravanti, your character in Fading Gigolo, that I think it was a romantic gigolo. Is there a connection between those two men in this romantic regard on life? Thank you very much.
You first?
Maybe Sam could
Yes.
talk about shooting in
Sam, who is our rock for shooting in New York.
Well, as the cinematographer, I live in New York, and I've shot many films in New York, not Fading Gigolo, which I'm a huge fan of. But it really kind of begins and ends with this beautiful script that Noah wrote, that's why we're all here. And really, this group is very special. And I think you have to not think about, well, where does this fit in the canon of all the great films that have been made in New York? I read the script. I met Noah right away. We clicked. We have a lot in common. We come from similar backgrounds, and he's really fun. And I knew John already before coming to the project, and was like, to get to do a movie with John in New York with Noah and with these wonderful producers who are very, very special and make, a great support. And everyone just wants the best quality on screen. And how do you shoot an independent film in New York nowadays? I think you have to be lucky enough to find a great script and great collaborators and people who are supportive, especially great producers who I always trusted Katie and Leo to want to do what's best for the film and not overly worry about logistics and the budget and the schedule, which are very important facets of a film. But it was always, art first, and we all were on the same page there.
And I think specifically, you talk about other New York films. I think what makes a great New York movie is that you are meeting New York at the story, right? It's like New York can be, what's the famous saying? There are 8 million stories in the naked city, right? And so New York is, people say, well, New York is a character. New York's the stage. New York is just every stage you could ever want, and so I think everything starts with a character, and the character, only exists when you have an actor playing the character, and then where are they? And you can say New York, but New York is like saying Berlin. It's like saying Sao Paulo. It's like saying, anyway, it's like these are big, big, big concepts, and we have to make them personal. And I think that's all that we tried to do, and we happen to have had the advantage of having people who knew New York, John and Sam and so many of our crew. We could go deep, which is what I think a great New York movie does, is able to find those specific places.
They're all different, New Yorks. We shot in all the 5 boroughs, and within the boroughs, there are complete other worlds.
Yeah.
And we were in a bunch of them. And I think that really sort of influenced, the film. As far as other characters and this character, I guess I've done a couple of films that are about a class and people who work with their hands. My first movie I directed, Mac, was about carpenters. Fioravanti was a florist and also did other things. But I think it's always interesting when you have characters who actually do things physically. And you don't see class in many films. And I think you do see it in this film. Mm-hmm. And it is something that's a big question in our society where we live. A lot of people, are being pushed, out of the city. So that's something that resonates with me, but it was a beautiful script, and we did a tremendous amount of prep, and I think, we were all working together, and that's not so easy. It's not so easy, and it's not the given. It's more of the rarity. So.
Hello, again. It's Jens Rausos from Greece. Thanks for the film. I'd like to address a couple of questions to Mr. Turturro. In the Only Living Pickpocket, which reminds me, of course, if I'm listening to the word pickpocket, it reminds me of Robert Bresson very much, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Never heard of it.
Does your character somehow portrays a thief or the last analog remnant of a city that has digitized itself and its own memory inside a spectacle of a big something? And also, might the pickpocket in this context be understood as an existential figure, stealing not just wallets or whatever, but fragments of presence in a metropolis that renders individuals aside?
A beautiful question.
Maybe Katie or Leo want to.
It's a beautiful question.
No, I think you guys have got that one.
Wow.
I don't think you can play, though I like a lot of writers who are considered existential, like Camus, one of my favorites. I don't think you can play that. I don't think Noah wrote that in, but I do think there is this thing that's going on in the world. It's happening, and you see it when you walk down the street. You can walk down the street and someone goes right into you. They're not taking you in as a person. Mm-hmm. And part of the beauty of life is listening to other people and responding and passing the ball back and forth is the connection between people. And for me, that always makes me feel very much alive. And I thought that was sort of embedded in the script, almost underneath everything. But Noah really hit certain things like, I don't know how to use a phone. I don't know how to use a computer. I don't know. And even if you do, you didn't grow up with it. You learned it later in life.
Listen, I want to take full credit for everything you suggested.
Yeah.
You're
Maybe
right
you should
on.
write the press book.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, I think that when you, by nature, are doing something tactile in a tactile place, right? New York, any big city, any big metropolis, especially New York, I feel Berlin as well. These are places where you're touching people, you're rubbing up against people, you're on the train, you're on the street. It's like it is a very physical, tactile experience. And of course, we have a very physical, tactile protagonist in the story. And I think that lends itself into this question of physical existence, of existentialism, so to speak. So I think even though it's a very heady concept, how do you talk about existentialism? It's like, well, this is existential right here, touching. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Mariona Borull, Fotograma, Spain. First of all, congratulations for the movie. I was really moved by it. A question for Mr. Turturro. I love how you are establishing some kind of link between, theft and a connection in a way, this physical theft and getting to know your neighbors in some kind of way. But I was kind of right. But I was wondering, what makes this smart guy that only looks for himself, as we see with his relationship with his daughter, charming? And how did you portray that while playing the character? Thank you.
Well, that's a good question. I think what Noah wrote was that he's a person who's never really taken care of anyone. Where he comes from is probably a rough background, and for the first time in his life, he's doing it. He's taking care of someone, and he's never done that before. So I think within us we contain multitudes, and there is maybe people don't change, but they can grow. They can grow. And I think, that has changed him. And he knows. And then being faced with his demise, he sort of comes up against everything he didn't do and what he is doing. And so I think there was a beautiful love story in the film, and one that's being selfless. And that's something that attracts me, because I feel like, almost any scene, any movie could really be a love story, And I had a great teacher once. He said, every scene is a love scene. And you try it that way, explore it that way. And that's something that really does interest me, especially being surrounded by so much violence in the world. So I hope I answered your question.
Hello, it's Natalia Żuk, Accent UK and Carta Berlin. Thank you so much for your film. It's really very tactile and atmospheric, and so it has very specific feel for it. My question is first to John. Could you elaborate a little bit how you developed your character in terms of maybe you listened to some music or had some memorabilia that you took with you or went around New York exploring all these bureaus? Yeah, and a short question to the whole team, actually. If you had the choice, if you could choose to live in the digital era or in the analog era, which one would you prefer?
Okay, so the first question?
Well, I'll let John speak to some of the books and the music that he and Noah were sharing with each other during in preparation for the role, but he did let us know that he would like to work with some type of consultant, and he had identified someone named Apollo Robbins, who's pickpocket, a magician, and we tracked him down, got in touch with him, arranged for the two of them to spend some time over Zoom and then together in person. But that was very important in John's preparation for just the art of picking pockets, and also just understanding the nature that these people work in pairs, they work in teams, understanding some of the psychology behind that, and and then Apollo was with us on set for specific days, and that really helped kind of make everything in the film feel real. So, yeah.
And Noah gave me a tremendous amount of material going in.
I did some research, a little bit of research into pickpocketing and street crime and
the history of it.
And the history of it. The sort of main academic. There's really only one academic text that sort of exists on pickpocketing specifically, and it happens to have been written by this guy David Moyer, who wrote The Big Con, which is what The Sting was based on. So this guy has sort of cornered the market in the mid-century on sociologically and academically sort of examining a lot of this stuff. And from there, because it's an academic text, there were a lot of footnotes. I was able to dig deeper and sort of go back into, the 19th century, and then John and I had some music that we shared, and I got to sort of test things on him, what would make him feel like he was where he wanted to be musically,
We played some of that,
Yeah.
music. I've learned to do that from Peter Weir and Francesco Rosi, to just when you're walking and doing things, maybe you can play a piece of music that the director is connected to, and it can then connect to you. And it's very, very helpful for an actor.
Yeah, Lacerda, Cinematório, Brazilian Media. 1977, the Chinese director made a film called Pickpocket, Zhejiangke. This film has inspired so many directors worldwide, including a Brazilian one, who is Walter Salles. He got very much inspiration on that. Did it also inspire you to talk about this? And my second question is, you are wearing a wonderful shirt called where it's written Paris, Texas. Mm-hmm. Is it your favorite film, or is it a sign of solidarity with your colleague that has been criticized a lot this week for not having to go on politics and separate film and politics? What is it exactly?
I have owned this sweatshirt for a few years, and it is one of my favorite films, and it should really be one of everyone's favorite films, I think. And he's one of my favorite filmmakers as well. American Friend was a big specific influence on this film. But I mean, all of his films are a huge influence on me, and so I was just, I was hoping like not to be like too much of a nerd, like when you wear you shouldn't, they say like you shouldn't wear the band's T-shirt to the concert. I was like, am I doing that with this?
Yeah.
But I do. I mean, I was like I'm hoping to meet him as just an enormous fan of his. But to your other question, there were a lot of, it's interesting, a lot of the movies that inspired this are city movies, not necessarily New York City movies. Mikey and Nicky, Philadelphia, right, or
Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Boston. As a New Yorker, it almost makes me feel anxious to say the word Boston. I mean, it's a little rivalry. But so there were a lot of influences that, were not necessarily just New York movies, but were, had our pieces that we could draw from. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Swantje Stein, Reuters Television. I have a question to Mr. Turturro and also to the director. First of all, thank you, of course, again, for this beautiful movie. Mr. Turturro, as introductor just said, you have a decade-long career in independent film. How has it changed in this approach, making independent films? Is it more difficult nowadays? And to Mr. Segan, because you're just starting your career now in independent film, what are your hopes, or both of your hopes, for the future of independent film, especially in the US?
Well, I think it's maybe harder now. The schedules are shorter. We shot this film in 26 days. It used to be like 30 days was the limit, 35 days was short. You could even make movies in the early 90s, 40 days, everyone getting scale. So that's a big challenge to meet the day. And you really need good producers and a great cinematographer, and Noah, who prepared all the time. We did tests with different lenses. And so it is harder to do it. But people are doing it. And, sometimes you have to go back to basics. And you have to go back to the beginning when you were not a professional. And that's important to keep that alive, within you. And it's all about, preparation. But it is. But I think, things change all the time. There were these independent films in the 60s, and very few people were doing it. John Cassavetes sort of led the charge with a few other people. And, those films were self-financed. And he distributed some of them, too. So there's always a way, and young people find a way. So I'm optimistic.
We're out of time. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.